Welcome. So on this session, I want to talk about something that is extremely important, which is immigration status. I know a lot of you are here already in Canada and some of you are not here yet, but it is important that we address immigration status. And the reason why I'm talking about immigration status in a licensing program is because that impacts directly the pathways that you might be able to apply for. So although a lot of you might ask, like, why are we talking about immigration? You're not an immigration consultant. And that is correct. I'm not an immigration consultant, and I will leave that topic to the experts. So I'm going to put a disclaimer here that the information I'm providing is just high level to try to give you some direction, but you will need to look in detail for these applications depending on what you will need or what you apply for in terms of your immigration status, okay? So basically, there's 4 immigration status that are more common. One is visitor, which we're not gonna talk about because if you're here to stay on a long term, you're likely not in a visitor status. The second option is work permit. So a lot of you might be on a work permit, either because you came here to study and then you got a work permit as well, or because you are accompanying somebody who is working and then therefore you have also a work permit. With a work permit, you may be able to apply for some licenses across some of the provinces in the country. However, it's important to highlight that you may not be eligible for some of the pathways that are available for other IMGs. An example would be to apply for residency. To apply for a residency program through CaRMS, it is mandatory that you have a permanent residency or a citizenship status in Canada. So as I was saying, the work permit is valid. It will allow you to do a lot of things. And I like to highlight that for most of the examinations, you do not even need a work permit, much less a permanent residency, to take the examinations. However, some of the pathways will require immigration status as a permanent resident or as a citizen. So if you're planning to stay on the long term, it might be in your best interest to start looking into a permanent residency application as early as possible. The 2 ways that are most commonly used for people to get permanent residency status is either through a provincial nomination or through the express entry program. One thing that is very commonly overlooked is the category-based applications for healthcare professionals. So since 2023, Immigration Canada created a category-based application. And 2 of those category-based applications might be of your interest. One of them is for French-speaking candidates. If you speak French and your goal is to live in a province that is not Quebec, you may be able to submit your application and have it assessed under the category-based application for French-speaking applicants. That will allow you to have a much lower cutoff score, and therefore it will be much easier to be selected from the pool of applicants. Now, a second category-based application that you may be eligible for is healthcare professionals. As physicians, doesn't matter if you're a specialist or a general practitioner back home, as long as you have certain years of experience, which is usually more than 3 years experience, you may be eligible for the category-based application under healthcare professionals. It is extremely important that you take this into consideration because the cutoff might be almost 100 points lower than it is for the general population. And you might already have enough points to be selected from the pool, and you still are waiting to collect more points because you think you wouldn't be successful. So I strongly suggest that you log on the website of the Immigration Canada, and you can find there a calculator that is called CaRMS calculator. The CaRMS calculator is basically a calculator for the rating system that is used by Immigration Canada. On that calculator, you can respond to a lot of questions that are asked and therefore estimate how many points you would have if you were to apply to the permanent residency through express entry. Once you complete all those questions, you will then have an estimate of what is your CaRMS score. My suggestion to you, as of the day that I'm recording this video, which is in August 2024, is that if your score is over 400, that you submit an application and enter the pool of applicants. The cutoff since 2023 until now has been between 400 and 450 for the category-based applicants in healthcare professions. As a comparison, that has been close to 550 for the general population. So 100 points less, which is a lot when we're talking about applications for permanent residency. Also, just as a matter of comparison, for French speaking, it might be even below 400. So if you're fluent in French, you may even need a lower cutoff. However, no matter if you're fluent in French or not, make sure to look into the process for category-based applicants in healthcare professions. Finally, depending on the province you are, you may be able to apply for the provincial nomination programs that are separate for each province. I would like to highlight, though, that once you apply through a provincial nomination program, you are usually required to spend a few years in that province. So if you don't know yet which province is best for your licensing process, you may want to think twice before submitting your application for a provincial nomination program. Usually, you're not allowed to submit your application through the provincial nomination program and through the express entry. So it's important that you plan ahead. And the best way to know which province you should be planning on living in is through the options that are available for you in regards to pathways for licensing. I know it's a weird way of thinking about it because most of the people would think that they would choose that they want to live based on other preferences, such as what city is best, where you have your family, where you have your friends, which one is closer to some universities. But as an international medical graduate, I can assure you that your best decision will come by first looking into the pathways. Every day I get contacted by an IMG that is living in a different province than where the options are the best for them. So to save yourself time, money, and frustration and not having to move later on, it's ideal if you plan ahead and go to a province where the licensing process will be friendly for you. And it's important to highlight that not every province is best for everyone. It's not a one-size-fits-all. You need to see your training and the requirements to then make an informed decision. As we go through the program, I will be talking about every license in each province, and it will be your homework to see what's best for you, okay? So just keep that in mind. And so if you're going to apply through a provincial nomination program, it's important first that you read what are the rules in regards to where you have to live and for how long if you are given the permanent residency status through a provincial nomination program. For express entry, I can tell you that it's all across the country and you're not required to stay in any of the provinces. You're able to move around. So if you are granted permanent residency through express entry, this will not be a problem. If you have any information that is different from what I said, or if you have any questions, I would love to hear it, and you can add it on the comments and we will adjust or we will respond to your questions accordingly. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you on the next video.